On the news, Senate summons Minister of Finance over 50 billion naira shortfall in Army's budget. Governor Masari says state of emergency over insecurity unnecessary. An AMCON amendment bill scales third reading in the Senate. Glad to have you join us on News Now. I am Folashade Ogurinde. The Senate Committee on Army has summoned the Chief of Army Staff, the Minister of Finance and Permanent Secretary to appear before the committee on or before Tuesday next week. The Nigerian Senate on Thursday opened tracking of a 50 billion naira shortfall of budgetary appropriation for the Nigerian Army. This was made open in a letter written to the Chairman, Senate Committee on Army, Ali Ndume, which was read during the committee meeting with the representatives of the Minister of Finance, Zinab Ahmed. TV360 Simisola Adigun reports.
Representative of the Federal Ministry of Finance is here before the Senate Committee on Army to explain the 50 billion naira shortfall in the appropriation of the Nigerian Army. While explaining to the committee on the release made so far to the Nigerian Army, Permanent Secretary Ministry of Finance Shehu Shinkafi insisted that the release of the Nigerian Army budget was 100%, the claim which was negated by the letter before the committee.
Serial number 1, 2019, 75 billion was appropriated. The same was released 100%. If you look at the second line there was even a supplementation from the service-wide vote, apart from the appropriation, which was released 100%. Number 3 there is for the Hadarin Daji, 2.5 billion, which was released 100%. Number 4 there, 2020, 75 billion was appropriated, 74.999, only I think 2 naira was. So almost 100% was released.
If you say you have made a release of 100%, here is a letter indicating that from the time of the introduction of Operation Lafia Dole, they have a shortfall outstanding of 50 billion. So if you are paying them 100%, how come do they have a shortage of 50 billion? They wrote a letter to me here requesting us to follow up with you.
The chairman of the Senate Committee on Army, who frowned at the absence of the Minister of Finance, however, noted that lack of funds and proper ammunition are responsible for the soldiers' incessant withdrawal in the battlefront with Boko Haram.
As long as the minister is in town, for her to disregard this our invitation, which is not an invitation by Mohammed Ali Ndume, but by the Senate to discuss the matter that every Nigerian is concerned about. I'm sure if she's not safe, she would be here. But they always think that they are safe because they have this security apparatus around them that will personally take care of their security. While in her state, in Kaduna, today, more than 50 people are still in the hands of captives. If to say her child or her brother or somebody related is among those that are there, I'm sure she will be here.
Senator Abba Moro, however, advised that the two agencies of government, Finance Ministry and the Nigerian Army, should sit together to rub minds on how much funds will be needed to prosecute the war against Boko Haram through the various operations going on in the country.
What is available to them here is not enough to do the job. And so all of us must sit down together and agree on what is required to do this job, with the assurance that if this thing is provided, this job must be done.
The committee chairman noted that the security of the country must be treated with urgency and necessary attention needed. Simisola Adigun, TV360, Abuja.
Katsina State Governor Aminu Masari has kicked against the National Assembly's call for declaration of a state of emergency on insecurity, saying it will not solve the problem. Masari said this while speaking to State House correspondents after a meeting with Chief of Staff to the President, Ibrahim Gambari, at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. According to the governor, declaring a state of emergency would not achieve the effects Nigerians desire when the nation's military is already overstretched.
Because how can a state of emergency solve the problem? You see, you have a situation where the military are in all the states of the Federation. Then you ask yourself, how many do we have? Are we not overstretching them? So the reality is, the responsibility of securing this country is ours, all of us. We have a role to play. And we must play it for the sake of the country, and for the sake of the children and grandchildren, not for the sake of the persons that are in office. I think we have to understand that whatever we do to restore security today, we are not doing it for one particular person or group of persons, but we are doing it for all of us, for the country, and in fact for Africa. A stable Nigeria means a stable sub-Saharan Africa. I think we better be serious about this issue of security. If you say, okay, state of emergency, what do? We are having the same people, the same security agencies, the same capacities, and the same resources. What are we talking about? We have a problem that everybody has a role to play. We better play it. Politics should be over. The security situation of the country is beyond partisan politics. It's a national concern for all of us. Every responsible person in this country. Thank you.
Despite stiff opposition from some lawmakers, the bill seeking to amend the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria AMCON Act has passed third reading on the floor of the Senate in a controversial manner. The bill was passed into law after the Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions engaged stakeholders such as AMCON, Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN and Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC. Find out more in this next report. The Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON, is a body set up to efficiently resolve non-performing loans of banks in the country. The body, however, has not been able to carry out its duty efficiently due to some legislative bottlenecks. Lawmakers and stakeholders, after a public hearing, pushed for AMCON to be empowered to take possession, manage, foreclose, sell, transfer, or assign property use as security for eligible bank assets, among others, adding that the amendment will provide for a quicker, easier and legitimate process of assets disposal.
That the amendment bill is timely in view of the expiration of the tenure of the Resolution Cost Fund. 2. That the Resolution Cost Fund is primary driver of AMCON operations, and with its expiration, the corporation will be unable to meet its obligations and perform its operations. Hence, the extension of the Resolution Cost Fund is necessary.
Some senators, during the clause-by-clause consideration of the bill, sought to know the rationale behind the recommendation of the committee in Clause 2, which empowers AMCON to take possession of assets outside of those used as collateral in obtaining a loan request.
I think the collateral by itself must have been determined by whatever bank that gave the loan at the time as being enough to secure whatever loan was granted. And the essence of collateral is that in the event of default, you lose that asset, which is collateral. But what I'm reading here is that in addition to seizing that asset, they want to go beyond that to every other asset or property that is traceable to the debtor.
What they're seeking for is powers with acquired title to the eligible bank assets and all assets or property, tangible or intangible, belonging to, trace to, and in which the debtor has interest in, whether or not such assets or property is used as security for the eligible bank assets and the corporation.
So the essence of introducing this is to be able to say, if you took a loan and you refuse to perform on this loan, AMCON should be able to attach any property that is traceable to you in overriding national interest.
President of the Senate, Hamid Lawan, called for voting on the contentious clause, which eventually was adopted by lawmakers in the majority.
A bill for an act to amend the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria Act No. 2, 2019 to extend the tenure of the Resolution Cost Fund, grant access to the special tribunal established by the Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act 2020, and to confer on it the powers to take possession, manage, foreclosure or sell, transfer, assign or otherwise of asset or property used as security for eligible bank assets and for other matters. 2021, third reading taken, and the bill is passed.
The amendment bill passed by the end of the chamber empowers the Assets Management Corporation of Nigeria to, amongst others, take possession, manage or sell all properties traced to debtors, whether or not such assets or property is used as security for obtaining the loan in particular. Folashade Ogrinde, TV360, Nigeria. Arising from its Wednesday Federal Executive Council meeting, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster and Social Development, Sadiya Farouk, says Council approved the procurement of poultries at the cost of 324.7 million naira for states affected by conflicts in 2019. Also present at the media briefing are the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timipre Silva, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema. Details in this next report. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster and Social Development, Sadiya Farouk, at Wednesday's FEC briefing decried the incessant attacks on camps of internally displaced persons in Benue State. The minister, while calling on the relevant agencies to beef up security around the IDP camps, said Council approved the contract for the procurement of poultry for states affected by conflict in 2019.
Two contractors, Messrs. Brava and Mrs. Janan, in the sum of 324,716,836 and 340,525,086 naira, respectively, representing a 4.8% increase on the original contract sum.
Also, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timipre Silva, revealed that FEC approved contracts for facility maintenance of the 17-story Nigerian Content Tower building located in Yenagoa, the Bayelsa State capital, at the cost of 2.1 billion naira. Silva said another memo approved for his ministry was the operations and maintenance of a 10-megawatt power plant, also in Yenagoa.
For the facility maintenance of the 17-story Nigerian Content Towers building in Yenagoa for 2.1 billion naira. Another memo was also presented to Council. It was for the operations and maintenance of a 10 megawatts power plant also in Yenagoa. Council also graciously approved the operations and maintenance contract for the sum of 712 million for 2 years.
On his part, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, said Council also adopted a national diaspora policy promoted by the Abike Dabiri Erewa-led Nigerian Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM. He said the aim of the policy is to give structure to the relationship between the government and Nigerians in diaspora.
Looking at how it can be a win-win situation for all the Nigerians in the diaspora and for Nigeria as a country. And, you know, it was very well received by the Council. And there were various issues that came up that hopefully this policy will then, you know, also help to bring about, such as voting for Nigerians in diaspora and utilizing the skills that a huge number of Nigerians in the diaspora possess.
Onyema reiterated that strengthening ties with Nigerians in diaspora is crucial to the development of the country. Chairman of Nigeria's electoral body INEC, Mahmood Yakubu, says he's looking forward to the trial of chieftains and candidates of political parties that engage in electoral offences. The INEC boss made this submission at the public hearing on the bill for an act to establish the National Electoral Offences Commission. TV360's Mary Kanu reports.
As the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, fixes February 18, 2023 for the general elections in the country, the chairman of the commission, Mahmood Yakubu, says he looks forward to a tough legislation against electoral fraud and violence. Yakubu says Nigeria's electoral process is so marred by irregularities that it is unthinkable not to bring anyone to justice.
We would like to see more prosecution of offenders, not just of ballot box snatchers and falsifiers of results of election, but most importantly, their sponsors. We look forward to the day when highly placed sponsors of thuggery, including chieftains of political parties and candidates, will be prosecuted.
The INEC chairman says a total of 124 cases were filed by the electoral body against offenders after the 2015 general elections, with only 60 convictions secured. The Senate President, who was represented at the event by Chairman of the Committee on INEC, Senator Philip Aduda, underscores the crucial need for an enabling law that sanctions electoral offenders.
Aside from the enormous work before the Independent National Electoral Commission, our justice system is also cumbersome, making electoral offenders to escape punishment most times as a result of these limitations. Having a National Electoral Offence Commission seemed a wonderful solution to enable focus and diligence in the administration of electoral justice system.
INEC is not equipped to prosecute offenders unless otherwise determined by a tribunal. Indeed, INEC has itself admitted that it lacks the wherewithal to cleanse the system, hence its inability to prosecute even 1% of the 870,000 electoral offences allegedly committed during the 2011 general elections alone.
A cross-section of stakeholders also echoed the need for stricter punitive measures to serve as effective deterrent against electoral offences.
As our democracy has evolved and improved, so also have the machinations of those who wish to undermine our electioneering process for profit or in service of their narrow ambitions. We must therefore design a system that serves sufficient deterrent to such people so that the electorate and the world can have confidence that our electoral process is secure and the outcomes of our elections are credible.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has severally called our attention to the challenge they face in prosecuting electoral offenders. INEC, as the election management body, has a broad mandate already and has consistently called for the establishment of an independent body to effectively focus on the electoral offences in Nigeria.
The bill under consideration proposes, amongst other things, to establish an independent special prosecutorial body to be known as the Electoral Offences Commission, which will work to arraign and prosecute electoral offenders.
President Muhammadu Buhari has assured that Nigeria and Zambia would deepen collaboration between the two countries. The president said this on Thursday at the State House in Abuja while receiving a special envoy of Zambian President Eja Lungu. He said the two countries will explore further areas of collaboration for the good of their peoples and benefit of the African continent. The Zambian Minister of Foreign Affairs, Joseph Malanji, thanked Nigeria for a big role in ECOWAS and the African continent. He called for stronger bilateral relations and greater friendship for the Joint Commission of Cooperation between the two countries. Moving on, youths are the future of every society, which is why it has become important that students who make up the bulk of Nigeria's young population are sensitized about the current trends such as courtism, irregular migration, cybercrime, and the likes, which are ravaging the world today. In view of this, the International Organization for Migration, in partnership with the National Orientation Agency, have organized a campus-focused youth outreach to address the myriad of vices in the country's tertiary institutions. TV360's Mujisola Matomi has the details.
Change begins with me. That's the theme of the awareness campaign the IOM and the National Orientation Agency have brought to the Lagos State Polytechnic in Ikorodu, Lagos State. Students and staff members of the institution are all gathered in this hall to receive the message. The program is designed to address some of the issues prevalent among students of tertiary institutions, including human trafficking and irregular migration. Representatives of the IOM and NOA say the campaign is part of efforts to equip potential migrants with relevant information to avoid falling prey to traffickers.
Basically to sensitize young people, that's undergraduates in the higher institutions, on the dangers of irregular migration and the safe migration pathways, because we know that a lot of the potential migrants, people who are more susceptible to be victims of trafficking and to travel through irregular routes are the young people aged between 15 to 35. So that's the reason why we are here, partnering with the National Orientation Agency.
Majority of our young ones have lost the moral values, and social vices have pervaded the fabric of our tertiary institutions. We got to where we are today because of the parental neglect that most of our youth suffer. The parents, in the quest to look for money, abandoned their parental roles towards their children.
Stakeholders at the event also called for a cordial relationship between teachers and parents.
Children with different background. Now this is where teacher, parents, cooperation should come here now. The parents will do theirs at home. When they get to school, the teachers too will take over and do theirs as well. Once they notice anything going wrong with the children, I would say that the teachers will notify the parents.
Some returnees who were repatriated through the assistance of the IOM also advised the students based on their personal experience while attempting to travel through irregular channels.
If you hear somebody tell you that, don't worry, I will pay your ticket for you. When you get there, if you are working, that's when you start paying me back. Just know that is a sign. Now, if you hear somebody tell you as you are coming, can you call on somebody else so that two of you can come together? You know, those are signs. If you hear that, don't worry, in 2 months' time or in 3 months' time, you'll be sending money to your parents. Don't worry, I'm going to shock you. Those are the signs. These are the signs that we do not pay attention to.
We don't say you should not travel, but travel in the proper way. Get the right information before you travel. Don't be a victim. And then before you even travel, try to have something in your hand as an hard work or skills training and skill business that you are doing. Get the adequate information before you think of, I want to migrate.
So far, the organizers have carried out over 50 campaign programs across Nigeria, and this is the second edition happening in Lagos State. Mujisola Matomi, TV360 Lagos.
We'll take a break here, but still to come, India's debt toll climbs as global aid flows in.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians are saying in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
Welcome back. Well, let's take a recap of some of our top stories. President Muhammadu Buhari has assured that Nigeria and Zambia will deepen collaboration between the two countries. The president spoke on Thursday at the State House in Abuja while receiving a special envoy of Zambian President Edgar Lungu. We also told you that the Senate Committee on Army has summoned the Chief of Army Staff, the Minister of Finance and Permanent Secretary to appear before the committee on or before Tuesday next week. The Nigerian Senate on Thursday opened tracking of a 50 billion naira shortfall of budgetary appropriation for the Nigerian Army. In case you missed any of our news bulletin, or for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. And anti-COVID-19 cases and updates. India's coronavirus cases deepened on Thursday with its daily death toll climbing above 3,600 as more than 40 countries have sent urgent medical aid to help the country tackle the spiraling crisis. Despite the soaring cases, Indians in the state of West Bengal are currently voting in the final phase of elections as experts fear West Bengal could be the next epicenter of the virus. On Thursday, India reported 3,645 deaths over the past 24 hours, while confirmed new cases hit a new global record of more than 379,000. Well, up next is Business Break. To stay with us.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators.
Well, up next is Business Stories and Stock Market Review with Mary Kanu.
Well, thank you very much, Folashade. The Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, has announced the issuance of tax credit certificates valued at 22.321 billion naira to Dangote Cement PLC. The tax credit certificates were for the construction of Apapa Oworushoki Ojota Road in Lagos and the Lokoja Obajana Kaba Road that goes through Kogi and Kwara State. The executive chairman of FIRS, Muhammad Nami, made this disclosure at the certificates presentation event to Dangote Cement. The tax credit certificate for the Apapa Oworushoki Ojota Expressway is valued at 21.6 billion naira, while that of Lokoja, Obajana and Kaba Expressway is valued at 721 million naira. But we'll take a breather here and return with stock market reviews. Stay with us. All right, just as predicted, the floor of the stock exchange was flooded with results as the first quarter of the 2021 earnings season commences in full swing despite the 2 negative sessions recorded this week. Well, at the sound of the closing gong, the all-share index landed in the greens at 1.75%, all thanks to investors' interest in shares of FitSyn and J. Berger. Now, as a result, the activity level was positive as 270 million volumes of shares valued at 2.5 2.031 billion naira were traded in 3,897 deals. Now, on the flip side, losses from CWG and M Benefits logged the top losers counter. Now, analysts say the market is likely to close positive this week as decent earnings across different equities are expected to temper selling activities in the fixed income market. Now, moving on to the foreign scene, mixed trading is currently ongoing in the foreign market as investors are mainly focused on profit-taking amidst the surge of COVID-19 cases in India.
Thank you very much, Mary, for bringing us up to speed on the latest in the world of business and stock market. Moving on now to the foreign scene, the bodies of 24 sub-Saharan migrants found floating along the Canary Islands have been brought to land by Spain's Maritime Rescue Service. According to Spanish Air Force rescuers, the migrants who spent 22 days at sea died of hunger and thirst as they tried to cross from the west coast of Africa to Canary Islands. 3 people on board were found alive but barely moving and were airlifted by a military helicopter to the island of Tenerife. Spain's Interior Ministry has said some 4,000 people have reached the Canaries so far this year. Well, up next is entertainment reports.
Has confirmed that a new season of his comedy web series Papa Benji is officially in the works. The star comedian and film producer took to his Instagram page to share a video of the series cast and crew during a script conference for the forthcoming second season. The web series' first season debuted in December 2020, starring Bethel Njoku, Onyebuchi, Nedu Wazobia, and Basket Mouth. The comedy web series follows the story of Papa Benji, a pepper soup joint owner, and it addresses current issues of social relevance. Deba Adebayo, popularly known as Mr. Macaroni, has joined celebrities reacting to the recent sexual assault allegations leveled against Nollywood actor Olanrewaju James, popularly known as Baba Ijesha. In a tweet shared on Wednesday, the actor addressed the prevalent text for roast culture in the creative industries. Macaroni's reaction comes in the wake of reports that Baba Ijesha was arrested for molesting a minor and he has confessed to the crime. And that is all that's well for you in the entertainment segment of News Now.
Away from entertainment now to sports, Nigeria's Ultimate Fighting Championship UFC welterweight champion Kamaru Usman has risen to #1 in the ESPN pound-for-pound men's mixed martial arts rankings. Usman retained his title with a knockout win against George Masvidal on Saturday, his 18th consecutive victory and 4th title defense. He steadily rose from 4th to 2nd in the match rankings, taking over #1 sports from John Jones, whose stay was very brief. Well, that's it on our news package. Thank you for watching. I am Folashade Ogrinde.